Well, if we would know what is the future, of course, things would be very easy. So the products of today actually are definitely not the winner products of the future. So any product that we are now considering for our future purposes might have totally unanticipated new innovations in them. In addition, Nokia is in a business where the business landscape is changing so fast that nobody knows what the actual important things are in the future. So we have to bet on things that we don't yet see clearly. Yeah, that's the holy grail of any research lab anyway, how to select and focus on the important things. Now, selecting good things is both top-down and bottom-up. So innovation comes quite frequently bottom-up with a pool of great ideas, sometimes also as a great vision of somebody that is pushed top-down to the organization. In Nokia research, what is happening is that a lot of the ideas come from bottom-up, and then from that bottom-up pool, slowly some of these ideas are elevated to become big bets, big investments, whether they are then driven by some kind of external top-down vision or just an overall understanding better on the innovation. That's sort of happening both ways. Yes, Nokia, we believe and we want to be special. I think anybody who is competing in an innovation space has its own special strengths. I guess the interaction with academia and the successful results of it from Nokia perspective are coming from both from tradition and extraordinary conditions that we have traditionally. So tradition of not separating so much of the academic innovation and the industrial innovation is strong in the Finnish heritage. Secondly, we have great financing mechanisms, national level financing, public funding that will allow us, in fact, to do a very fruitful collaboration both from the university and the industry perspective. Yes, graphene seems to be one of the, in the recent history, one of the materials that has the most versatile nature. So if you think about graphene, it has multiple interesting properties that allow new applications. One of them is the special strength of the material that allows us to build interesting composites in a totally unprecedented way. The second one, of course, is the electrical properties. And these electrical properties, for example, from our perspective, are interesting from the perspective that they allow us to address high-frequency electronics, in particular in radio. The third dimension of graphene that is important is that you can build structures that have a very high surface area. What's the meaning of that? It allows us to go to one of the important areas of battery, and especially the charging of batteries fast, which you can imagine is also something that is of great importance to us. Now, finally, if I think about this, the optical properties of a graphene, again, being one of the fundamental areas to study, allow us totally new applications. So as you can see, there are so many different fundamental fields where we can apply graphene. Now, one more important thing from an industry perspective is that this is a scalable technology, or has a promise of being a scalable technology, which is again important from the application perspective if you go to mass production. I think this is one of the most exciting things about graphene. It is really like an open world where we can look at totally out of the box new solutions, which we just are starting to see when we are going forward with the research. So it's really an area that has progressed extremely fast, faster than anything that we've seen in the recent history. Only 8 years ago, we started with the basic experiments. Now we already have identified multiple different areas where to apply it, but I still believe that the greatest innovations are yet to be discovered from graphene. So it's truly something that I believe will have a fundamental change in the areas where graphene can be applied. We, of course, at Nokia are proud that we started the graphene research only 2 years after the first fundamental experiments, 2006. So that means that we've also been a long time in the game from that time perspective, and we've also seen this evolution of our thinking during the research. Yes, fundamental question that any area of this nature always faces. Now, one very important thing to observe, first of all, is that there are multiple activities globally in the world that there's already an investment in this area. And they are publicly funded, partly because of the same reasons we are funding them in Europe. Second comment is that you should always put investment in areas where you see a great promise and you see a great lead. And we in Europe, we have a great lead in this area. So putting investment for an area where you have a great lead is always the best choice you can do as a strategy. Thirdly, the question is that how mature is the technology? Although there's a lot of progress that we see already, many of the application areas, and we see already great sort of progress in the scientific domain, most of this is still in its infancy, and it requires a much more investment to mature to the level that we can really see the great benefit of graphene. Europe's economy benefits most on research and development work that then has also a possibility to nourish within Europe. And graphene happens to be one area where we have all the important players of the value chain to utilize graphene then for the applications that we are talking about. So from that perspective, this is a very good and sort of efficient way of doing a research investment, because we can then also see already the absolute potential that the European players would have in this game. Those who know me always know that I say that I have a personal dream always to be among the legends. So I see a great opportunity here in an area which is very rare in science. You have an area that will change whole families of industries. And being part of that, being there, seeing it evolve and seeing the impact on that is a great dream to have. And I hope that we keep dreaming and thinking out of the box to make this happen.